Attention, you're listening to the Todd Huff Radio Show, America's home for conservative, not bitter talk radio. Be advised that the content of this program has been documented to prevent and even cure liberalism, and listening may cause you to lean to the right. Here's your conservative, but not bitter host, Todd Huff.
Well, that is right, my friends. Here you are, hour number 2 of the Todd Huff program. It is a Todd Huff show. What am I talking about? The Todd Huff show, my friends. Good to be here. Email, should you want to be connected with us or share your thoughts, questions, feedback, adoration, and praise, todd@toddhuffshow.com is where you can get a hold of me by email, my friends. Make it count, though. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And, look, it's you're going to have to use a little bit more adoration and praise than you think is necessary. I'm kidding, but not entirely. So I want to talk this hour, my friends. I want to talk specifically about some of the things that DOGE has recently uncovered. I want to talk about Elon Musk's comments targeting Chuck Schumer. We'll get to that in due course as well. There's a lot of stuff in the stack of stuff. If you want to see it, it's at toddhuffshow.com. You can read the things that we've referenced or maybe talked about even sometimes in great detail and degree. toddhuffshow.com. Just go to the stack of stuff. Hat tip to the late, great Rush Limbaugh. Friends, if you are in sales, if you're a salesperson, if you're a sales manager, if you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, and you are looking to improve your sales skills, if you're wondering if you're where you want to be, consider joining Easton University, my friends. It's a sales training program where there's coaching and a training system delivered by Matt Easton, and it is top-notch, my friends. We've used it here. I think Matt's stuff is phenomenal. He is a great sales coach, a great sales teacher. And, if you're in sales, you should invest. You should invest in your training. It will pay off. It will pay off. This stuff isn't cheap, but it's affordable. And if you do what you're taught, I'm telling you, it will pay for itself in no time at all. So, if you want more information, if you want to sign up, you have to take the first step. toddhuffshow.com/Easton. That is where you would go for more information or to sign up. toddhuffshow.com/Easton. And as an added bonus, for those of you who are listeners of this program, Matt will do a welcome one-on-one introductory phone call with you if you sign up through our link there, toddhuffshow.com/Easton. He will jump on a welcome call, walk through your specific problems, and help you hit the ground running, ensuring that you have a quick return on your investment. toddhuffshow.com/Easton is where you will go for that, my friends. All right, this is juicy, my friends. FoxNews.com, it's reported elsewhere as well. DOGE reveals bizarre findings of unemployment insurance claims survey. This is insurance claims survey. This is so crazy. I had to read it several times before it sank in, Elon Musk noted. This is written by Alex Nitzberg of Fox News. Here we go. Got to do one thing here. This is behind the login at Fox News. Let me log in here. But Elon here says he had to read this multiple times before he could really understand and come to grips with the craziness of what he was finding that this survey had uncovered. It's remarkable, really. DOGE has set out, my friends, DOGE has set out to uncover waste, fraud, abuse, financial mismanagement, just, some things that maybe we shouldn't have been doing, maybe some things that we definitely shouldn't have been doing, following the money, figuring out where there's too many, maybe we're overstaffed or whatever. These are the sorts of things that DOGE has set out to do. And it's a necessary, this is a rudimentary, basic starting point that should be done candidly on a regular, ongoing basis. If you have any business running government at all, this is the sort of things that businesses do on a regular basis. It's the type of an audit. I remember when I was at a nonprofit, we had an annual, I don't know if it was annual or every 2 years, but we had an audit. We had an audit to make sure that, that we were being fiscally responsible and doing with the money what we said we were going to do. This should be part of what it takes to run a government today. None of this should be the slightest bit offensive or concerning. This should be the standard for what it takes to operate a government. And see, when you don't do this for so long, or you have audits that nobody passes in the federal government, some of these groups never pass audits, and then you don't do anything about it, it turns out there's going to be a lot of garbage happening in these departments. And that's what we're uncovering. That's what DOGE, Elon Musk, his team there, what they are uncovering. So let's read this article at foxnews.com. The Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, account on X shared eyebrow-raising findings from a survey of unemployment insurance claims. The initial survey of unemployment insurance claims since 2020 found that thousands of people with future birth dates claimed benefits. Now, I know the left tries to argue reality and logic on a regular basis. They are completely, their philosophy, their worldview is completely devoid of any logic, of any rationale, of any coherent thought. It's emotions-based, and it's a rejection of truth. But even the left surely would agree with us, with Elon, with me, with the folks who have common sense, that people who have birth dates in the future should not be claiming anything. Because if you have a birth date in the future, you are not a person walking around on planet Earth yet. You are at best, you're a person in the womb who is not been issued, who has not been issued a social security number, for example. But this survey found that people with future birth dates were claiming benefits from unemployment. The survey also indicated that thousands of supposedly very young and very old people had claimed benefits. The DOGE Post states that the survey found, quote, 24,500 people, 24,000 people, over 115 years old claimed $59 million in benefits. Who are these people? The oldest person known to be alive in the United States, I believe I just read, is 114. Well, little did they know that they've got 24,500 other people that are older than them, according to this, if this is true, claiming $59 million in benefits. The DOGE Post continues here. 28,000 people between 1 and 5 years old claimed $254 million in benefits, and 9.7 thousand people with birth dates over 15 years in the future. That's my favorite. People from the future are claiming unemployment. They're from the future. I will, on occasion, if I see an individual with a shaved head dressed in a particular way, I will tell my children, I think that person's from the future. I think they're from the future. There's almost 10,000 people who haven't been born yet. The fact they're not 15 years from being born, that are claiming $69 million in benefits, according to Musk and DOGE. In one case, I read this earlier, I forgot this. In one case, someone with a birthday in 2154 claimed $41,000. Fox News Digital reached out to the Department of Labor for comment. This is another incredible discovery by the DOGE team, finding nearly $400 million in fraudulent unemployment payments Department of Labor Secretary Lori Chavez DeRamer said in a statement, the Labor Department is committed to recovering Americans' stolen tax dollars. We will catch these thieves and keep working to rot out egregious fraud. Accountability is here. Your tax dollars, this is Elon now, he's tweeting this, your tax dollars were going to pay fraudulent unemployment claims for fake people born in the future. It's totally believable. If you were to ask, forget about DOGE, if you were to ask me, Todd, you could have asked me this 20 years ago because I had seen ridiculousness all over the place. Todd, do you believe that people are receiving unemployment benefits if they are made up, they're fake people, they're fraudulent unemployment claims from people that are fake and born in the future? I would have said odds are good that that's happening. Elon Musk is saying it is happening, and he says this is so crazy that I had to read it several times before it sank in. So again, your tax dollars, this is well stated by Elon. Your tax dollars were going to pay fraudulent unemployment claims. You can stop the sentence there and say that's a problem. But it's even better than that. For fake people. For people that don't exist. Not only do they not exist ever, they don't even exist yet because they're supposed to be fakely born in the future. The alarm bells for the system should have been going off left and right here, and it appears that they weren't. The oldest living American, this is Elon, is 114 years old. So it is safe to say that anyone 115 or older is collecting unemployment due to being dead. There was no sanity check for impossibly young or impossibly old people for unemployment insurance. Senator Mike Lee of Utah replied to Musk, writing, reckless incompetence. I don't know. Is that what it is? Is it incompetence? Is it lack of concern? Or is it fraudulent? I mean, that's the other thing. Someone is getting something from this. Someone who is collecting these benefits. The money's going somewhere. They've brought the receipts. Now, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, and I find this a fascinating part of this discussion as well, because there are people that no matter what DOGE says, they are going to be against it. They are not going to believe it. They are going to believe it's a lie, or Elon is not smart enough. His team of techs are not smart enough to understand the intricacies and the nuances of some code that was created in the 1960s or whatever, as we've experienced before. That's the way that this is done. Elon doesn't understand this is a massive database. These people are still in there. They're not really getting paid. Why are people in the database with fake people in the database with birth dates in the future? Riddle me that, leftist. Tell me why. I'm sure right now there is some devout leftist who is falling at the altar of big government, worshiping big government, who will be quick to explain how that is something that has an answer to the question. It absolutely does not have an answer to the question. This is stupid. It's either grossly incompetent, which I have a hard time. You know, if you have checks and balances in your system, there is no way that this happens. And if it happens, it doesn't happen to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. It might happen here and there, but for it to happen 30, 40, how many thousands times did it say? It happened 24,000 times for people over 115, 28,000 times for people between 1 and 5, and about 10,000 times for people who haven't even been born yet. Fake people who haven't been born yet, and we're paying benefits to these. So it's, what is it? It's 130 plus 250. So we're looking at nearly $400 million in benefits that have been paid to 60-some thousand people. 60,000 people. Is that ineptitude? Is that gross negligence? Or is that fraudulent? How does it happen this many times? Are they operating in an underground mine like the retirement offices for the federal government is? How does this happen? This does not happen. And listen, whatever your excuse for this, whatever your explanation for this, it has to change. It has to change. Either people need to be arrested for fraud and go to jail. The people who are running the program need to be fired. It needs to be modernized. Whatever's happening here that allows this to happen, that allows this scenario to take place, it's got to be stopped, my friends. Unbelievable. Nearly $400 million of your hard-earned tax dollars. Now, some people will be out there saying, oh, that's not that much money. For our federal government, we're talking about trillions. This is barely $500 million. Well, this is one example. 60-some thousand people getting $400 million approximately. That is just crazy and wild stuff. So that's going on out there as well, my friends. This is what DOGE is trying to do. I'll talk about that here in just a moment. Before I do that, though, MyPillow, you would have heard me say on here by now, if you've listened to the program, MyPillow is having a wholesale sale option for you. Sorry, I had some feedback come in my ears. Fox News' websites are notorious for this. It's one of the reasons I don't go there very often, because they autoplay this crap in my ears. But MyPillow has placed a big order for the box stores. The box stores didn't come through for MyPillow again. And so MyPillow is passing along those savings to you. They're giving you the option, the opportunity to get wholesale prices for their bed sheets. We have bed sheets here in the Huff household. We have some Giza Dream Sheets. They are incredibly comfortable. I like them a lot. We've also got the MyPillow towels, which are fantastic. I've got the MyPillow pillow. We've got some MyPillow slippers as well, but these sheets are comfortable. They've got two types of sheets, Giza Dream Sheets and Percale bed sheets. All of those are on wholesale price for a limited time until this allotment, until this order runs out, the order that the big box stores did not come through on for MyPillow. So they're going to pass those along to you for wholesale pricing. Some tremendous sales prices here, 50% and more off of these sheets. So go to mypillow.com, use promo code Todd, and you will save on those sheets, be able to get these sheets at the special discount price. Free shipping options are also available for the sheets as well, my friends. Or if you prefer, you can call in 800-615-2015. Again, 800-615-2015, mypillow.com, promo code Todd. Friends, this sale is only going to last until that particular allotment is spoken for and it's out of the MyPillow warehouses. All right. So there was also a spat between Elon Musk and Chuck Schumer. Let's go to this as well. This is Fox News also. So Elon, let's understand what's happening here, just to jump into this discussion. DOGE, which is being led by, ultimately by Trump, but by Elon Musk, going through and figuring out where we are wasting money, where we can cut expenses. And candidly, the expenses that we're cutting, it doesn't matter if it's just, hey, we're spending a little too much here, we've got too much staffing there, we're using money to do something here that we're also doing over here, so we're, basically we can consolidate. There's all sorts of ways. All the way from those simple, innocuous little things just to tighten our belt, all the way to full-blown bad things are happening deliberately, aka fraud, in our federal government. So Elon has seen this. Elon has dug into this, and it's been exposed for what it is, and it's as bad as people think and even worse than that. And so Elon has seen this. Elon has seen the gross mismanagement of this. And, as a businessman, Elon, of course, Tesla, X, SpaceX, all these things. Elon says, look, I don't run my business like this. I mean, this is inexcusable for the federal government to do this. And it's so bad, it's not even, at some point, you can't make excuses for it. It's so terrible that you have to say something else is going on here. to where it's either deliberate, someone's getting a kickback. This isn't just incompetence. And Elon has seen lots of red flags that suggest that maybe there's some of that going on. Maybe there's some things happening where people are profiting from some fraud here. Headline here at Fox News, Elon Musk scraps with Chuck Schumer, suggesting the senator profits from government fraud. Senator Schumer has claimed DOGE is sabotaging Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Alex Nitzberg of Fox News, business tycoon Elon Musk floated the idea that Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Democrat from the state of New York, is somehow profiting off of government fraud, though the lawmaker has pushed back. This is what Musk tweeted or posted, I think, on X. Chuck, I'm starting to think you're getting a piece of the action with the government fraud. But no, that couldn't possibly be the reason, could it? Musk, who has been spearheading DOGE, the DOGE effort to expose waste, fraud, and abuse in federal government, made the comment in response to a Monday post in which Schumer accused DOGE of sabotaging Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. The post reflected sentiments Schumer had conveyed during a speech. Chuck Schumer fired back in response to Musk's suggestion he could be benefiting from government fraud. Another Elon lie is what he posts on X. He wants you to think that anyone who dares to stand up to him is committing fraud. Meanwhile, he's taking tens of billions from the government, Schumer declared in a post on Tuesday. You know, this is gaslighting 101. Chuck Schumer, listen. Elon is correct in pointing out that there is waste, fraud, and abuse all throughout our government. This is undeniable. The evidence is there. Although I find it interesting, and I've just looked at the clock here. I got to take a break here in a second. But I find it interesting that there are people that no matter what DOGE says is going to believe that the government for the past 50, 100 years has been managing these things completely as they should. Even though we all have anecdotal evidence of people who have benefited and gamed the system. We all know somebody out there. We've seen them, if nothing else, in news reports where people are fraudulently claiming this, that, or the other. This is not something that is hard to fathom that our government is mismanaging. And Elon is here telling us, he's bringing specific data and numbers, and they still refuse to believe it. Instead, opting to believe that Elon has some sinister plan to take down Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. That's the talking point that Chuck Schumer wants to focus on. And Elon says, I think you want to do that because maybe you're involved in the fraud, Chuck. So we'll talk about that on the other side of the break, my friends. Sit tight. Got to take a break. Back here in just a minute. Welcome back, my friends. Who do you believe? Who do you believe? Do you believe the government, the people that have been in Washington, D.C. for the past half century? Do you believe that they've been managing your money perfectly well? How do you explain $36 trillion in debt? At some point, you have to say something isn't adding up. We have massive amounts of debt. We've been in the red, adding to the deficit each and every day, each and every quarter, each and every year. They continually tell us taxes are not high enough. We can't possibly think about touching expenses. This doesn't add up. None of this adds up. They've had record-breaking receipts in revenues in recent years, not that long ago, in our federal government. They still can't make it work. We're taxed to the max. They want to go after millionaires and billionaires. Why do they want to demonize these people? People are not evil because of whether they are a billionaire or not. They're evil if they've decided to do evil things. But that's not the way that this stuff is talked about in the news and in the political discourse and so forth. This is a question of who do you believe? And I believe the people who are exposing this stuff. I believe that those are the numbers that are correct. Now, as Elon said, there's going to be examples of when they expose something, reveal something that they'll later find out may have another explanation. but not at this level, my friends. The magnitude of this is incomprehensibly large. Why are people with birth dates in the future, fake people, in the future to receive unemployment, or in the database to receive unemployment benefits when they're fake and they aren't even born yet in the fake world that they live? That is unbelievable to think that that's where we are, but that is, in fact, where we are. So Elon says Chuck Schumer must be worried that he's getting close to uncovering people who are benefiting from, someone's benefiting from this. People who are 115 receiving unemployment benefits, people who are between the ages of 1 and 5 receiving unemployment benefits, fake people that don't exist yet who are born in the future receiving unemployment benefits. None of that adds up. That's $400 million. Where is it going? You can see why there's at least a question. At least a question. I'm not saying you blindly make accusations, but there's at least a question. Are the people overseeing this who go into DC with one amount of net worth and come out with drastically larger amounts, does this account for it? I'm not claiming it does. Please don't misunderstand me. But it is a question that I think we should ask. Where is this money going? How are these people getting wealthy? And then you see these large sums of money that are just going to fake people or people who don't qualify, and they're receiving the benefits. Okay, well, where is it going? Why? And is this hard to track, or is there not addresses that they're maybe mailing checks? Maybe this has been going on a while. Maybe they're direct depositing this stuff. Can we not look at this? Can we not track down who's getting this money put into their account? Maybe that's the next step. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe the government's destroyed those records. That sounds like something they might do as well. But it doesn't seem that hard to me to figure out who's getting this money, whose account is receiving it. Are these ghost accounts? Are banks in cahoots? I heard a story the other day from a guy who had, it's unbelievable, really. His accounts had been hacked by some nefarious actors in China, and it is an absolute disaster what he has been dealing with. But he told me the FBI had told him that this is one of the 30 worst instances of fraud that they've seen upon an American by this, whatever's happening through China and everything else. And apparently he's learned that the Chinese are targeting people who work at banks to basically, to bribe them into compromising the security of these accounts in some cases. And they don't get through every time. I'm not implying that everybody's willing to sell their soul, but it only takes one person with access or the ability to maybe put these things into a compromising position, right? And so this is the fraud that exists, or that allegedly exists. Where's the money going? And can we not track it? And can we not hold the people accountable who are getting the money? Are they getting the money and not knowing it's in the account? Who made the claim for it to go to the account? How did it get to the account? Chuck Schumer doesn't seem interested. That's the problem. Chuck Schumer doesn't seem interested in that. Instead, he wants to tell you that Elon is targeting Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security. And to Elon's point, he's like, yeah, if people are fraudulently using the system to get access to Medicare, to get access to Medicaid. I saw yesterday, I had in the stack of stuff a claim that I think it was 1.3, I believe. I'm hesitant in saying this, but I believe it was $1.3 million. One of these other individuals who's working with DOGE, maybe I can go back and find the article, but 1.3 million illegal aliens are getting Medicaid, according to one of the folks working. I'm going to see if I can find it. So bear with me as I'm talking here. I might have to pause a few times to pull this article up. But that, you realize how unbelievable this is? And it's not that Elon wants to get rid of Social Security or Medicare or Medicaid. Since when is it wanting to eliminate? wanting to get rid of fraud and waste and clear cases of people taking advantage of a program, when is wanting to catch that the same thing as wanting to eliminate or reduce the size of the legitimate part of the program? I'm not here to defend any of those programs or to attack them. I'm simply here to say, if you can't say with a straight face that wanting to stop fraud is not the same thing as wanting to eliminate a program, then that is an that's intellectually dishonest, is what that is. Boy, I'm looking for this. I thought it was in yesterday's stack of stuff, and I'm not seeming to find it. I will tell you, I believe it was 1.3 million illegal aliens was the claim that are getting access to Medicaid. So Chuck Schumer wants people to believe that Elon is trying to take out Medicaid, Social Security, when in reality, all he's wanting to do is get rid of the abuse, the fraudulent claims, Social Security, whatever they are, whatever program it is. I mean, it is remarkable. I've commented on this program before. One of the things the left wants to do, and they've done this successfully for a long time, although I think that the jig is up. I do. I think that the American people have caught on to this. But for the longest time, they would say you're not in favor of an issue, a particular thing, unless you're willing to fund it with federal dollars. So, for example, you're not in favor of birth control unless you're willing to have a federal program that provides free birth control. Now, how in the world has that become a thing? That's ridiculous. Those are two different things. I'm in favor of people going to church. I hope that people will go to church and pursue a relationship with the God of this universe, Yahweh himself. I do hope that. I believe that is the most important thing a person can do. But I also don't believe in forcing them. Those are two separate issues. That's not the way that process works. We have the freedom to decide if we want to pursue a relationship with our Creator or not. Even He respects that. He gives us the choice. By the way, I just stumbled upon the article. Oz was right. 55% of leftists said that murdering Trump would be justified. 55%. I referenced that earlier. I couldn't remember. I couldn't decide if it was 45. Oz thought it was 55. Anyway, so the point here is that instead of having an intellectually honest discussion, Chuck Schumer opts to say, you want to get rid of Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, Elon. Instead of saying, wow, that's pretty significant. Let me join you in assuring the American public we're not trying to throw $400 million out the window for fraudulent claims of unemployment benefits or any other social programs, entitlement programs that we have in this country. Friends, really quickly, I'm at the end of this segment here, but I want to remind you that we are taking members to our inner circle. This is an exclusive, behind-the-scenes, bonus content program that we're having here at the Todd Huff Show. It's going to be launching here a little bit later this spring. You can sign up now, be a lifetime member, invest one time, $99. You're a member for life. As long as you're here, as long as the program's in existence, you will be a member of that program, and you'll get access to bonus content. We're looking for people who want to take the things that we talk about and do some things with them, become better conservative communicators, become better and not bitter, maybe be better at organizing and doing things at the local level. Lots of things that we can do. I invite you to join ToddHuffShow.com/join for more information or to sign up. Again, ToddHuffShow.com/join. I've got to take a break, my friends. Sit tight. Back here in just a minute. Welcome back, my friends. Now, we talk about issues on the national level, even though I'm located here in central Indiana. That is home to me. We talk about national issues. When I started this program in our bedroom closet nearly 10 years ago, we made the decision, let's not talk about local stuff, let's talk about national things, and let's try to grow a national program. And we're in the process of doing that. Now, the show's being delivered on satellite to radio stations. We've added some new stations here. Anyway, but we've always had a national view, covering national issues on this program. From a conservative perspective in the heartland, in flyover country, from the Midwest, or whatever you want to call it here in this part of the country, where it's a different world. I mean, it is a different world than people live in if they grew up in San Francisco or Portland or Seattle. So, I mean, in particular parts of those cities. Outside of those cities, it may be just like it is here in the flyover country. But it was always to bring a conservative, not bitter perspective, common sense perspective to these issues, national level. And so there's times I'll mention some things that's happening here. There's times I might mention some things that are happening in other states. That's what I want to do here today. Townhall.com. Parents could lose custody of their trans-identified kids if this bill passes. This is for our friends in the great state of Colorado who is under assault from the extreme radicals in their party. This is written by Jeff Charles. Again, townhall.com. This is in today's stack of stuff. If you want to read it, I'm not going to be able to talk about this in its entirety. I just want to give you an idea. Many of you may have seen this, maybe you haven't. But this is the sort of thing that is happening in states that are blue and it's happening in states that have lost what is left of their ever-loving minds. So here we go. The Colorado House passed a measure that would empower the government to take children away from their parents in custody disputes. House Bill 25-1312, also known as the Kelly Loving Act, was introduced in the Colorado General Assembly ostensibly to protect trans-identified children in areas like child custody, education, and others. One of the bill's central provisions is classifying, quote, dead naming and, quote, misgendering as forms of coercion in custody disputes. I don't know if I've heard the phrase dead naming. Have you, Oz? I've obviously heard of misgendering. You know what do you? You think so? Maybe I should let you sit behind the microphone then, Oz. Dead naming occurs when a person calls a trans-identified individual by their birth name and not the new name they have chosen to align with their gender identity. Is that what you thought it was? She did. She's saying yes. I'll leave that up to you if you believe her. She's pretty trustworthy. Anyway, misgendering is referring to a trans-identified by their accurate pronouns, not by the ones they have chosen. So in the bill, if you call someone by the name that they have apparently killed, I guess that's that they've murdered their initial birth name. So if you're born Susie and you say, I'm not Susie, I'm Scott, I am, do not dead name me by calling me Susie because I've told you my name is now Scott, and don't call me she, call me he. If you don't, you're going to be misgendering me. So that's a provision within the bill. The proposed legislation requires courts to consider this behavior when determining which parents can gain custody of their children during divorce proceedings. So you have a couple of parents who are going through divorce. They have little Susie. They raised little Susie. Susie got to the age where she said, you know what, I've gone to enough public school here to realize I'm not Susie, I'm Scott. And so you're going to call me Scott. Well, one of the parents insists on calling the child Susie still because that's her name and not Scott. Or maybe that's just by accident. Listen, I've had someone in my wife's family change their name and I used the old name just out of habit, just truly out of habit. I used the name. Wasn't trying to be provocative. I used this name to talk to him for, 10 years. I don't remember the timeline. And he corrected me. And I said, look, man, I'm not trying to be provocative. I mean, you have to understand, like, that's what I've called you for 10 years. I just was saying it. I wasn't even thinking, right? You're just talking. And it comes out because that's what it is. Apparently that's going to now, the courts are going to look at that in Colorado and be like, hey, You didn't call little Susie Scott, and you recalled to her, you said she, her, when he now has explicitly told you his preferred pronouns are he, him. Why do we have to do both? Why? I need someone to explain that to me. Why is it she, her, hers? I mean, isn't she enough? Does it sound more sophisticated to say she, her, hers? Does anyone say she, him, his? Or she, him, they, or theirs? What is going on here? Why do we need each variation of this? Anyway, you do all these things as a parent. Maybe it can be done in a mistake or whatever, just out of habit. This stuff could play into whether or not you get to have the child who gets custody of the child. I mean, it's truly a remarkable thing. This is happening in Colorado. I'm sure it's coming to another blue state near you as well, my friends. Dead naming or misgendering the individual or the individual's child or relative is now formally included as evidence of coercive control. Anyway, I'm out of time. I can't go through this. I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Time's up, though, my friends. Got to go. Have a great day. SDG.